Hey everyone, welcome to World Heritage Journey. For today's video, we're at Uluru-Kata Tjuta National Park in Central Australia. So you probably recognise the massive red rock behind me, Uluru, a symbol of Australia. I'm super excited to check this one out, so let's get moving. This World Heritage Site has two components, Uluru and a nearby rock formation known as Kata Tjuta. Together, they're listed as a rare mixed site, important for both cultural and natural reasons. Starting with Uluru, it's genuinely one of the most impressive natural formations I've ever seen. It's an enormous single rock made of sandstone, rising 348 meters above the surrounding desert. Amazingly, what we can see is actually just the top of the rock. It continues deep underground. Nobody knows how deep it goes, but it's estimated to be at least 5 kilometers. Back on the ground, the rock's circumference is a full 9.5 kilometers, and walking an entire lap around the base takes several hours in the desert heat. It's challenging, but it's very rewarding. Geologists estimate the rock's age at around 500 million years, which is honestly just staggering. But despite the impressive numbers, I think my favorite aspect of the rock is that for something so massive and unchanging, it's actually constantly changing. From a distance, it looks like just one big slab of rock, which I suppose it is, but as you draw closer, you see more and more details emerge. Small cracks become huge gorges, hundreds of meters long. Tiny pockmarks become enormous house-sized caves, and little streaks turn into enormous stains left by gushing waterfalls in the rainy season. And all around the base, completely hidden until you're up close, is a constant procession of boulders, caves, overhangs, and waterholes. Even the colour constantly changes. When we first arrived on a gloomy, overcast afternoon, the rock was grey and dull. But later on, during a glorious sunset and sunrise, it turned a magnificent shade of luminous orange. But Uluru is as fascinating culturally as it is geologically. The local Aboriginal people are the Anangu, who've lived in the area for over 10,000 years. As you'd expect, Uluru is an extremely sacred and spiritual place in their culture, and many of their creation stories, moral lessons, and ritual ceremonies are centered around the rock. One great example is the story of Lum Carter, a greedy and dishonest blue-tongued lizard who stole a wounded emu from some local hunters and lied to them about it. Realizing they'd been deceived, the hunters tracked Lum Carter and smoked him out of his cave, high on Uluru's western face. As he fell and crashed to his death below, he left a trail of smoke and ash on the rock that can still be seen today. The story, of course, teaches what happens to the greedy and the dishonest. And there's a series of caves at the foot of the rock covered in paintings where creation stories and other lessons are taught to the younger generations. About 30 kilometers west of Uluru lies Kata Tjuta, another sandstone rock formation. Although it's similar to Uluru, Kata Tjuta is also surprisingly different. It consists of 36 large sandstone domes, rather than just being a single rock. It also covers a much larger area of nearly 22 square kilometres. The highest peak is also taller than Uluru at 546 metres versus 348 for Uluru. One major geological difference is in the rock strata. At Kata Tjuta, the strata is mostly horizontal, inclined at about 30 degrees, while the rock strata at Uluru is almost entirely vertical, which is what gives it those iconic ribs. There's also just a really different feeling out at Kata Tjuta. Since it's an hour's drive from Uluru, a lot of visitors don't make it out there, and hiking the long Valley of the Winds leaves you almost entirely alone with nature, which is just a fantastic, spiritual feeling. As you'd expect, Kata Tjuta is also very sacred to the local Anangu, perhaps even more so than Uluru. Because of this, many of their Chukurpa creation stories are still kept secret among the tribe, and they're not told to outsiders like me. All up, Uluru-Kata Tjuta is one of the most impressive World Heritage Sites that we've ever visited, and it's one that we'd strongly recommend visiting for yourself. It really is an experience unlike any other.